Hello and welcome back to another video on this channel. In today's devlog I want to show you what I've done in the last week, so let's don't waste any time and dive right into it. But first, thanks for all these suggestions under all of my videos and new ideas you brought to me, and some of them I already implemented. For example, one comment or one suggestion from Neko Nuclear. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So he had the idea that it would make a lot of sense to have some kind of lightning for objects I can interact with, and of course this is a super nice indicator for players, and as you see you can hover now over all these objects you can interact with. And of course nothing happens if you hover over some objects you cannot interact with and are just there for, I would call it beauty reasons. Of course it's not that beautiful, but I think this guides the player more to objects that are collectible and more interesting to the player than just normal grass stuff. Also, I removed the little panel in the bottom right corner, for example for the grass stuff or stuff you cannot interact with. Of course, for something you can interact with, it stays there. I am working with a shader, and here is the outline shader. It's super simple. So at first I get the object scale, and then I add a scale or size property to my shader. And then I divide the scale by the object's scale, but then multiply it with the object's normal vector. The result from that I just add to the object's position and then assign the position to the object itself. So in general speaking, this is just something where you size up your object and then offset it a little behind the object you see. And this optical illusion turns out to be an outline. This was a super high level explanation. Of course, if you do want a deeper explanation or a tutorial to this, then please let me know in the comments. I also added another cool indicator which helps the player to identify new objects if they were collected. So you see on my right in the progress manager, oh, I messed them up. But still, you see, this is all black, so you do not exactly know which item is behind that. So let's see, if we tackle the tree, we can get this as a first item, and you see we found a new object, and I really love this animation. And if we press any key to continue or to close this panel, then the animation is kinda played backwards, and I really love that. And if we now attack the tree a second time, we already got the tree, then nothing happens. So you get this panel just if you find a really new object, which further increases your process. It's actually not a big deal, but I really find that super cool, so that the player gets more into the game. I think it's like collecting new objects makes a little bit more fun. You know what I mean? Also, this screen is not finished. I want to place, for example, on the left side, the value of this stone DNA or some description what it is. And I think this could be cool, but I don't know if this might mess up this actually clean look. But I think I try it out and test that, and if it is cool, then I further want to use that. Of course, I want to show you how I achieved this, and a little disclaimer, I had not that much time, but I wanted to get features done, so please don't judge this code quality. I have planned a code cleanup session, and I think I get rid of the most ugly stuff, yeah, just as a disclaimer beforehand. So I have the entity image, which you already saw. I have the label which says, hey, you found a new object, a new DNA or whatever. I have my backdrop, which is the darker part behind this label, and I also have this close panel label, which basically says, hey, you can press any key to continue, and I added a canvas group to all three of that. Of course, I think it's totally fine to just work with the color of that. For example, the color of these both labels here, text labels of course, and for the backdrop it's just an image, so you can just play with the alpha of this image, but I thought with the canvas group it's just the easiest way, and I then get the rect transform of the current game object object, and then I want to reset the panel at first, and this reset also happens every time when the panel gets closed. So what happens in there? At first I want to set the entity image to inactive, so it isn't visible, and then gets activated on the enable function. And I also do that with the backdrop, but you already see this is not really good quality code, because here I'm just setting the alpha to 0 and deactivating it, here not. So this is kind of spaghetti code and not good, but as I already said, this will be tackled within the code cleanup. And I then center the entity image and want to set the offset for my stretched rect transform to 1920. This is just a magic number. I really have to get the screen width or the viewport width. This was just for testing, and I think this is working for now, but of course this needs to be adjusted. Maybe I tackle this when I get into the options of the game, because there I want to support multiple screen sizes. But for now it's totally fine for me. So what happens? I do all my animations with doTween, and for that I created a new doTween sequence and then said, okay, every time my game object gets enabled, I want to also enable the backdrop of that. So the backdrop is active but still is not visible, because we are here setting the backdrop canvas alpha to 0. And what happens then? At the total beginning, we want to have the backdrop becoming visible from 0 to 1 in a half a second, and every time this gets updated we want to also set the alpha, so within a half a second this gets visible. And then at the same time I want to make sure that the panel slides from the left, as I said, the magic number 1920 to the center to 0 within 1 second. This is how I do that. It's not that clean, but I think it's okay to get it done. But I don't want to have it linear, I want to have it eased, so I want to have it eased in out with a quint operator, which basically means it does not slide in from the left to the right with a linear speed. I want to have it like having the maximum speed at the middle and then slowly pace down. So if you see my cursor here, it's just zhoo. Okay, this was a this was a really bad example, but I hope you saw it. This is how I get this done. And at the end of that, I want to make sure that the entity image is visible, so I set this to true. And after this animation is complete, I want to get another animation, which is basically the entity image, which scales from 0 to 1. So at this point it is not even visible because the size is basically 0. And then I want to have it at size 1 after again half a second, and I want to have it kinda squashy, so I use the out back easing. And then after some time I just insert some more animations at the position of 1 second and 25 or 250 milliseconds, where basically the label gets visible, so we fading it in with a duration of 250 milliseconds. And at the same time the hooray label, which I earlier, just moves down a bit with a easing. And then at the end, if everything is done, I want to make sure that the last label gets visible, so we are also fading in this close panel label in half a second again. And if all this is done at the very end, I want to make sure that the can close panel is set to true. Why is that interesting? Because I have a check here if the can close panel is true, and if so, we can close it. So you cannot skip this animation, because it's quite important. And after this is done, we can close this panel, and this is basically the same thing, just backwards and a bit faster to not annoy the player. Yep, and that's actually it for today's devlog. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you don't want to miss any updates, then please subscribe to this channel, and if you liked the video, then please hit the like button, and we see us in the next video. Bye!